another Friday book review. Today I actually have 3 books, and these are all going to be middle grade young adult fiction. These are books that are for the literary type. I think any child would enjoy these books, but if you have a child who is a bookworm and just loves books, then these 3 books are going to be ones that you want to pick up. I do have some content considerations for them. Not as much as I would normally, but a few. So I'll start with the one that I do have the biggest content consideration for because I've read the entire series, well, except for the newest book. I haven't read that one, but that is Pages & Co. The Book Wanderers, and this is so much fun. This is about a little girl. Now, it's been a while since I read Tilly. That's right. And Tilly finds out that her and her family can go in and travel through books, basically. And it is a very interesting story, and you get to meet the characters, and there are mysteries abound, and lots of intense. It's very exciting, fast moving. We loved all the books, but I think it is around book 3 or 4 that it does introduce a homosexual couple. So my children are only reading books 1 and 2, which is very sad, because we did really love the series, but we are not going to, we're a conservative family, and so we do guard against that. Now, my oldest did read them and brought that to my attention, which is why I read through the rest of the books. You could skip the 3rd book and probably be okay, because I believe it is the 3rd book that it mentions it. It's whenever the one that they go to DC. But otherwise we really love the first 2 books. They're very fun, a lot of action, and some big concepts. And so I really do enjoy the first 2 books in the series. Read the others at your own discretion. Next is Escape from Mr. Limoncello's Library, and I just finished this. My oldest has read most of the series already. I've only read this one, so I cannot give you any content consideration for the other books, but my children have not. They usually bring it to my attention, especially my oldest. So I don't know that I have any content considerations for it. This was very well written. It takes a different view, so they're not traveling through books like this one, but they are going to a library with a Willy Wonka-esque character who has created a big game in this brand new library, and they have to solve different problems to try to earn a prize. And what touched me most about this book is how sweet the main character is, and he's a young man, but it's not like overly saccharine or anything like that. It's just, he has such a good character. He is a friend. He has done wrong and didn't really understand why he did wrong in the beginning, and comes to realize the importance of choosing right over wrong, valuing others. And honestly, I highly recommend this book, because it is not only fun and exciting, you get all those nice little literary touches in there. There's a lot of pop culture that I don't know that my kids necessarily would have picked up on, but there is that in it. But it is, like I said, you have naughty characters and you have positive characters, like any good book will have. But the main character is a young man who is not necessarily valiant and brave and heroic, but instead is just a good friend and chooses right and honors others. And that was just his character was so encouraging, and several of the other characters. So I highly recommend this. Like I said, my children have read the other books in the series, and they have not come across anything that was overtly concerning. And so I highly recommend Escape from Mr. Limoncello's Library. Last but not least, now, Book Wanderers, books 1 and 2, I would give to 4th grade and up. Same with Escape from Mr. Limoncello's Library. Book Scavenger, you could probably give it to a 4th grader. I might wait a little bit longer. It's a little more intense. Book Scavengers is a story that follows Matthew and Emily. I only say that because it's my brother and was my sister-in-law's name. Sorry, she's passed. But I got emotional, sorry. Emily is a book scavenger, this big game that again, Willy Wonka-esque type man in San Francisco has created this great book publishing company, and he creates these elaborate games and everybody wants to be part of. And Book Scavenger is this online game where you hide and find books, like you would think in a scavenger hunt, right? However, the very first chapter opens with an intense scene, and then you go throughout the book and you have a few other intense scenes. This is not World War II intense, it's not that, but it is because it is set in a modern day setting, it is something that if you live in a city, it could be triggering because it is. I'll just tell you now because kids are probably not watching this, but there is a mugging and some men who follow the children later on. So there's a little bit of that concern. Nothing super terrible happens. For the most part. So there isn't that content consideration. You might just want to read like the first chapter because that's the most violent of the whole book. The rest of the book gets a little intense, but it isn't violent. And anyways, she moves a lot. She's making a friend, which she's never had, so she's balancing how to be a friend, which is something she hasn't really done, even though she's 11. Family dynamics are in here, and I love, love, love how it ends with the family dynamics. I love they show that they're not a perfect family, but they show that they can come together, that they can overcome problems. And I just really appreciated that part of the story. I love the literary aspect of it, the different names about books and history of books and authors, and a little bit of San Francisco history here. And just, it was very entertaining and exciting. I will say for me, this one was a little more gripping, but my oldest really loved this book and was like, you gotta read it. And so we've got kind of a mystery series going on with all of them. They're all trying to figure something out. That tends to be a favorite of my kids, but I highly recommend all three of these books. Sorry, all three of them. They are all three series. We have not read the rest of this series, so I cannot give you any content considerations outside of this book. Honestly, there wasn't anything I get in except for pop culture references that my family does not understand for the most part. My children don't. Book Wanderers, there were a few content considerations around book 3 and no content considerations for all of Mr. Limoncello's. I haven't read it, but my children usually do report back to me. So, so 3 series here that you can read part of or all of without worrying, and they're all very bookish, literary fiend type, and so I hope that they are encouraging to you. And yeah, that's what I have for you today. So if you have any other bookish books, please drop in the comments because we are a book family and my kids love those kind of topics. So have a great day, and hopefully I'll see you again next Friday for another book review.